Hi everybody, I wanted to show you quickly how to at least estimate what you need on the final exam in stats in order to get A, B, C, or D, whichever you would like in the class. Please keep in mind the numbers that you get out of this is just going to be an estimate. It won't be exact. So if you're looking at it down to the decimal point percentage, you're looking at it a little bit too closely. This should at least give you, though, a loose idea of what you need on the final and just give yourself a little bit of leeway on that. So the basic calculation is that half of your score, 50% of your, of your score is tests. So that breaks down into they're 12.5% each. So you're going to take 12.5% times your test 1, 12.5% times test 2, 3, 4. 15% of your grade is your quizzes, 15% is homework, and there's 20 left to be on the final. So what I've done is I've set up a completely random, like a pretend person score, and I've filled in the blanks. So you can actually find the scores to fill in your blanks if you go into the gradebook tab. So if you click on that gradebook tab, it will come up, and mine doesn't show anything here because I haven't done the assignments, but you should have list down there. You can look up your individual test scores, and if you go under the show calculation, it should give you both a homework and a quiz average. I've only done some of the homework in our particular class, or this class, but you should be able to get those two numbers from there, homework and quiz. And then your tests on this page is all cumulative. They're all added together. So instead of looking there, look down here, look below, and look up the individual scores. Once you sub all of those values in, what you want to take special note of is you want to note whatever your lowest test was, and your final is to be determined at this point. And basically, it is going to just be a trial and error. It's a bunch of number crunching, but it's doable calculations. So perhaps what I did personally on this person's test is I checked to see what would happen if they got a 70% on the final. If they got a 70% on the final, that would be higher than their lowest test. So what I would do is I would go back and change this test to a 70 as well. And then using this number at replacement right here, I crunched all those numbers, I multiplied, added, multiply, add, and what I ended up with is I ended up with a 79.09%. So 70% on the final would not quite give this person a B. And so then I went and I did a couple more, and what I found is that once I hit 73 and then recalculated, that bumped the person up to an 80.06. So it looks like this person needs, again, approximately a 73 on the final to get a B in the course. Now, if they get exactly a 73, it may or may not do that. This person, I would say, needs to aim for 75, maybe even aim for an 80, right? Just in case, knowing that approximately a 73 should do it for the B. Then also on the other side of that, I know everyone's concerned about, okay, well, I need a 73 to get the B. What do I need to just keep the C that I currently have? So what I did in that case was I started backing down. I tried some lower scores. I was like, okay, well, what if the person gets a 60 on this final exam? Well, if they get a 60, then that is lower than this lower test score. I would not go back and replace this. I would leave this as the 65.85. I'll never lower your score. And when I did that, I found that would still leave them with a 76.57. So I kind of lowered it, and what I actually found is that if I put in a 30 here, leave this one where it is, that landed them right around a 70.56. So it looks like this person only needs to score around a 30% on the final to keep their C. Now, I always hesitate to tell you guys these things because, of course, I don't want you coming into the final aiming for a 30. That's not a good way to approach the final. It's not a good way to study for the final or think about the final. Because what I have seen happen entirely too many times is someone comes in saying, I only need a 30% on this, so I'm not going to study. I know a 30 is in the bag. And then they come in and they get a 20 on this final exam and they get a D in the course and they are upset and I am upset and there's nothing at all that I can do in a situation like that. If you put yourself in that situation, you're just going to have to live with it. So even if you find by doing these calculations that you need something pretty minimal on the final to kind of keep a grade that you're satisfied with, please study. Please come in and actually try your best. Otherwise, you might put yourself in a really, really bad scenario. And like I said, if that happens to you, there is nothing that I can do. If that's how the numbers fall, then it is what it is. So my suggestion would always be aim for the higher score. Try, come in and try. This person, I want them to try for this and leave this as the fallback plan. A 73 is still very doable, I would say, for a student who has these kind of scores. So aim high, shoot for that higher score. Don't ever shoot for or aim for that lower score. That's just entirely too dangerous. If you have any questions about this, or if you would like to come in and have me sit down and help you with this calculation, I'm happy to do so. But I wanted to at least give you that information so you could kind of do it for yourself. And again, just remember, those are ballparks. These numbers, these scores are rounded when you're plugging them in. So it's not an exact science. So just kind of keep in mind, it's a roundabout that score will do it for you.